Greetings, Light Tribe, Spirit Silver Moon here. This video will be for Standing Holy Hierophant. There's 2 points of focus that I do. There's Harmony Energy Healing, which is the name of this page, which is for removing energetic blocks, traumas, things that keep us stuck or blocked, which oftentimes may or may not have to do with anything related to religions or societies over the millennia. Okay, and how they've affected us and different wounds, ideologies, stuckness. And so some of these videos, even though they're not like full on just direct about energy healing, it still is about energy healing, even if it's indirectly. And so this talk is going to be about Gnostic texts, because I do a lot of talks about understandings of religions or Christianity, specifically Christianity. There's a lot of denominations under that umbrella, and different understandings of it. Okay, so again, I like to reiterate that this is just from my limited perspective to date, through my studies, and as my understanding and awareness or perception of it grows and changes. And so it is for different perceptions, perspectives, for us to seek to possibly understand more deeply what we think we believe, what we are taught or told. And some of us know that there were scriptures that were not included, when Christianity was being put together 300 years after Christ for Constantine. There were people that were picking and choosing what was going to be going in the canon, from many teachings of Christ from the time of him or shortly thereafter. And there were different understandings of it, okay? And it is interesting to ponder, but you might find it's different than what you knew, but it's maybe than what you know, but it's similar. You'll see familiar things and similarities, but there's more depth to it than many people currently understand, okay? And it might even pull you out of illusion and inaccuracy or incompleteness. Let's say incomplete, because even these gospels that I've been revisiting, there's the ongoing interpretation or misinterpretation about worthiness, which I talk and write about a lot, and these are even talking about it being more of an incompleteness. There's part of us that's incomplete, not unworthy, okay? So it's interesting to see how religions tout things, or the way they use the knowledge they have. Now, some groups, it's been coming to my attention, and I really try to stay away from it. I don't want to get drawn into that. Is the whole, it's so egoically driven, but it's the whole, I want to say evangelical type, I think, but where they're weaving in the socialist stuff. So they're pulling from both sides of something. And it's like a double whammy of darkness in a way. So now get this. So this is interesting. So a lot of these groups these days are just going on about Satan. So when I'm revisiting, again, these Gnostic texts, nowhere in the ones that I've been recently reviewing from the Nag Hammadi mention Satan. They do mention some dark stuff going on. We follow a fraction of what it is, and we don't even understand that that's what it is, and we think it's something good when maybe it's not, to a degree. And this is where it gets interesting. So people like to label things with words or ideas, especially the word Satan. But I think that they might be a little bit incorrect in that. They're not off balance in that it's something dark, but they're off balance in who or what they think it is. That it's one being with that name. No, it's not one being, it's more than one, and it's not that name. So if you did the study Seeker, it's very interesting how it's a little bit different than what they told us. There's pieces missing about this is the origin of the world, so this is sort of the creation story, because there's more pieces to it than we know. For instance, they talk about things being on the different levels there was an Adam that came, that was a spiritual Adam who went up to a higher heaven. And then there was another Adam that was made. And there are rulers, they say, that we think of as perhaps the God of the Old Testament, because they're connected, who were in a type of ignorance. And you don't know what that is until you study. And so they were afraid of human. Really, it's not that they were mad and trying to punish. They were afraid and cursed. They were after Eve, and part of her left and hid somewhere in a tree of knowledge. But the physical part stayed. And they tried to make plans to have their way with her. This is rulers and their angels and demons, is what they say. Woo, big stuff. And that this powers that sort of rule this place. And yeah, they made servants, angels and demons that were their servants, these rulers that people call God. And there is God, but this is not the one we're talking about here that people maybe think they follow. Okay, and so and they wanted to make the humans serve them too, but there were higher beings that knew what they were doing and sort of put a stop to that. But again, we don't know that much about that unless and until we study. But they're also saying that all of this kind of blood sacrifice that went on, that was for the lower demonic stuff. If anybody hasn't figured that out yet, and it's still going on in lots of places of the world, serving darkness. Hello. So it's very interesting to find out the different layers, levels, what came first, what came second, what came third, what part is spiritual, what part is soul, what part is matter. There's different things that are intertwined in different ways to understand them. And what people follow or think they follow, they think it's something, but it isn't. It's something else. And they don't even know it because they're in, it's, even that creator, those rulers, they're called rulers because it's plural, were in ignorance. It explains it very well if you feel like taking the time to study. Doesn't need to be creepy, doesn't need to be scary. It's similar to what you thought you knew, but there's more to it than when you think you know. So there's certain things we need to come out of that we've been stuck in to rise, to get away from imprisonment, shall we say. And I guess that's it for this video. It's just a brief little glimpse into the fact that there's always things we don't know. And it's interesting to discover, to gain knowledge, to open our awareness. And there's a lot more information in there about the amazing love and beauty of Jesus, of the Christ. So, yeah, very interesting. Peace.